Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Animation Oatmeal. We're going to be looking at the Epic Lyric Smackdown assignment. This one was probably pretty challenging for a lot of people. It's straightforward, but there's a lot of things to keep track of, and it's super fast-paced. And working in such a fast-paced timeline can be really tricky in terms of making sure that everything has the attention it needs, and also things don't feel like they're just appearing and disappearing really quickly. Plus, getting the sync with the audio is like key, right? So I hope you all enjoyed this assignment, and we'll just get right into it. So let me bring up the video player. And the first one we're going to take a look at is from Eugene. So like usual, I'm just going to play through, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I got a magic track. Keep Franco on the attack. You need a freak off the handle. All of the layers are stacked.
Alright, so first of all, we've recently revamped After Effects Kickstart, and this new song that we do for this exercise is great. The old one was awesome. No disrespect to Joey, who created and recorded the song, but this one is great. It's a lot more modern. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so what is working here? Well, let's just look at it piece by piece. So I'll do the first section, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I got a magic track.
All right, so the sync with the audio is really solid.
Yeah, I got a magic track.
All the words come in when they are supposed to. When we hear them in the lyrics, that's when we see the action on the screen. And when you're watching a lyric video, especially one that is as fast-paced as this one, that's key. If you're off sync, then it throws the whole thing off, and it makes it really hard to, for lack of a better term, track what's going on. So the fact that everything is in sync here is the number one thing, and I think it's working really well. I do love the additional animation here on the word matte, separating each letter into its own layer and then adding a slight animation to it, even if it's just a simple little... I love the bounce, but even if it didn't have the bounce, just having each letter come in on its own, that's a really simple way to add, I want to say, like, secondary animation to an element. You could have it all come down at once. We could call that the primary animation. But then you could change it up and have each letter come in and have it do sort of a wave like it does here in the word matte.
Yeah, I got a magic track.
Yeah. Also, this little rectangle, the way that it sort of comes in and snaps back, just adding that little follow through, it sort of puts like an emphasis on the end of this particular section of the song, and I feel like it works really well, and it moves quickly, and it feels punchy like the lyrics, so I like that addition.
I got a magic track. Keep Franco on the attack.
Okay, so a couple thoughts about this one.
Keep Franco on the attack.
The sync is pretty good here, especially all of it leading up to the word attack. So what I would change about this is... the biggest thing is that the word attack here, one, it's a double syllable word. A lot of these words are single syllable. In fact, all of these are single syllable, and attack is the first double syllable word that we have. Not only that, it's also the last line of the verse. So it's extra important because it rhymes. It ends the particular line that we're on. It gives us that brief pause. So breaking this up, whether it's into individual letters or just the two syllables, you could do attack first, but that would be a little bit weird because the first syllable is only one letter and the rest is the second syllable. So I would treat it probably like the word matte here, where each letter is an individual layer and they're all animated separately. And what that would do is it would help lengthen that it would help lengthen the animation of that word, and it would just help us linger on it a little bit more, which is It's sort of what's happening in the song. Even though the song is rapid fire and very quick, we're getting just that brief pause to sort of think about what we heard and process it. And having that extra lingering is going to do that. That's going to help a lot. And then the other thing is that the way that these lines come in, because they come in at exactly the same time as the word attack, it's sort of competing visually with it.
On the attack.
So when I'm watching this, I'm not really sure which piece I'm supposed to be looking at from a viewer's perspective, you know.
You need a freak off the handle. You need a freak off the handle.
Okay, and then so super tight sync on this too. The only comment is, again, at the end. There is a little bit of animation here, but maybe some follow through would help elongate that, again, because it's at the end of the line and it gives us that pause. So maybe some like a bounce and a slight overshoot and follow through would be nice here, or separating these into individual letters and animating each one individually. Again, just to get that emphasis and the pause there.
Handle. All of the layers are stacked.
All right, excellent work, Eugene. The next one we're going to take a look at is from Stephanie.
Yeah, I got a match you can track. Keyframes are on the attack. You need a pre-come to handle. All of the layers are stacked.
All right. So, right off the bat.
Yeah, I got a match you can track.
Okay, most of the sync on this is really, really solid. The word "yeah" right at the beginning, it's a drawn out lyric. Instead of just "yeah," it's "yeah." You know, it takes a long time to say the word. So I totally understand why Stephanie did it this way. However, because it's on screen for so long and we see it before we hear it, it adds just a little bit of confusion. And that confusion's cleared up immediately once we hear the lyric. But avoiding the confusion in the first place would be the way to go, in my opinion. So I would just reduce the travel distance on this and delay it coming in. Delay its appearance just a little bit so that it. Let's see if we can figure out a good time for it to pop up. Yeah, I would probably have it show up right here and just have it get that little bit of travel with that bounce on there. That's really nice. But wait for it until it's like frame 30, I think. Yeah, I think like frame 30, and currently we see it at frame 10. So, I mean, that's shaving off almost a whole second of it showing up first, and I think that would help clear that confusion.
Yeah, I got a match you can track.
Okay, and then the only other one that needs a little bit of attention here is the word "can," because it appears the same time as the word "you." So we see this and we see this at the same time, and I think this can just be delayed. I would just trim the layer so that it's not visible until right now, right when it starts to move. And that solves all the problems right there.
I got a match you can track. Keyframes are on the attack.
Okay, so I think this is a good way to handle these lines here. They have their own animation, but it happens sort of with the word frames. Excuse me. And that's sort of the center point anyways, and the lines are originating from the center, so we're already focused right here. Whereas with Quinn's example before, the word we were looking at was here, or sorry, Eugene. Quinn? I'm sorry, I forgot which one we just looked at. Eugene, sorry, Quinn is next. So yeah, because we were looking down here and the lines were animating up here, it was sort of a visual competition. But because the animation of the lines originate from here, and we're already looking at the word frames, it's okay to have them happen at the same time because we're looking in the same spot. Okay. Same comment about the word attack. Because we get that little bounce, it's a little better. We're getting a little bit more time to the word attack, but it might be even stronger if we get that banner animating, and then just a few frames after that we get the word animating in, just to help sort of stretch out the animation a little bit. That's just an idea. That's not the only way to approach that. So that's one thing to consider.
On the attack, you need a pre-com to handle.
Okay, a great example is the way the word handle is done. It's the last word in the phrase here, and it has an elongated animation, so it really helps draw it out and bring closure to this section.
You need a pre-com to handle.
Yeah, I love that little animation on 2 also. It's just that little bounce, but it adds so much.
You need a pre-com to handle. All of the layers are stacked.
Very nice work, Stephanie. Excuse me. And the next one we're going to look at, and the last one, is from Quinn.
Yeah, I got a match you can track. Keyframes are on the attack. You need a pre-com to handle. All of the layers are stacked.
Okay, so one thing I do want to touch on is there's a lot of people, and I think I even said this in last week's animation oatmeal, is that a lot of times when you're doing flat 2D graphics, well, okay, what I said was that the cursor on screen didn't need motion blur, but when you're doing flat 2D graphics, a lot of people will say you don't need motion blur. That motion blur sort of obscures the design, that if you really want to do like a fast feeling motion, you can add smears and stretches and stuff like that. And they're not wrong, but that's not a reason to rule out motion blur entirely. And I think in this case, motion blur works really well because the song is so rapid fire that seeing the elements have blur to them, it just helps them feel like they're moving really fast, and it sort of like it just mimics that rapid fire. It mimics that rapid fire element to the song. So I think that the motion blur is working really well here. And it's just one of those things you have to think about it from project to project and see which one makes sense. You know, do I turn it on? Do I turn it off? I'm sorry guys, I don't have any water here. My problem when I first started animating is that I just left motion blur on all the time. I never turned it off because I liked the way that it looked. But there were some projects that I did it on where it didn't really have any place there. This is an example of where it's working really well. Okay, so let's get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a match you can track.
Okay, couple things I love about this. One, there's lots of animated elements here. The square is animating up. This line, if we look at it, it pops up and then it launches the A up and then it like settles back down. So it's almost like a little seesaw. All the letters in mat have their own layer. They're all animated individually, and track is done in a way that makes it feel very heavy. It pops up and then it just smashes back down. And that's great because it's a bold text, so it feels heavy. It's dark in color. It feels heavy. It has emphasis because it's the last line in the song, in the verse. So there's a lot of really great stuff going on here, and those are some of the examples. Sort of like the last one we looked at, yeah comes on just a little too early. We see it before we hear it.
Yeah.
So that can be addressed in a way where the animation is tweaked and the layers trimmed so that we only see it when we hear it.
I got a match you can track. Keyframes are on the attack. Keyframes are on the attack.
Okay. So this, again, just like with the last one, there's a lot of animated elements. If I scrub through frame by frame, we can see a lot going on. Let's break it down. So when the word key pops up, the crown flies up like it's getting launched off, and then it settles back in. This line that the word frames comes out of turns into this purple square. And then it separates and it reveals the word R. So what Quinn has done is basically created a lot of reason for movement. Everything moves very purposefully. There's things coming out from behind reveals. There's objects that are moving and morphing from one thing to the next. So there's just a lot of planning and thought that went into this, and I think it really shows.
On the attack.
Let's see.
On the attack.
Yeah, that's a nice little touch here. It's really, really hard to see, and I addressed this in Quinn's. Critique, but this circle, which started off as over here, it slides over and helps reveal the word attack, and then if you watch it, I'll frame through, it shrinks down into like a little line, and then it cuts the word attack in half. And that's really cool. It's hard to see it, so I would make that a little thicker, but it's a really cool detail.
You need a pre-com to handle.
Okay, same comment as before about the last line in the word. I'm gonna emphasize this. I'm gonna keep hammering it in because I think it's very important. Handle it's stretched out. The animation is elongated. We're given time to process, and we're feeling the whole bar, thanks to that little rest period we get by emphasizing the word handle.
Need a pre-com to handle. All of the layers are stacked.
Okay. Couple more points. This ball bounce is great.
All of the layers are stacked.
I love it. It's a great ball bounce. It has nice acceleration to it. It feels pretty natural. This little triangle here, there's so much overshoot and momentum in all of the movements. And this triangle, watch what it does when it comes in. It drops, bounces, and then just freezes in place. So it's one of the only elements on the screen that does that, and that causes it to stand out. So when you're animating stuff like this, make sure we're consistent, and then if we're giving all of our elements overshoots and follow through, make sure that everything gets that treatment. Otherwise, it's going to stand out and it's going to feel out of place. And then the last thing I want to point out that I didn't mention until right now is that if we look at every shot, there's one element that carries over from that shot to the next shot, and it's usually this little rectangle, or maybe it's always this rectangle. Let's take a look. So this is a great way of making transitions. You're taking one element from the screen and you're moving it to the next screen in a way that the viewers might not even notice. It just feels natural. So we're going to follow this. It goes off the screen and then it comes in from the other side. Very cool. This one, it lifts off from the right side of the X, and then it comes like it got launched. If we're gonna do like an arc, it got launched and then it comes back down this way. See that? Pretty cool idea. And then it even interacts with the element. When it lands on this, it tilts it to the side, like it added weight to it and tilted it. So it's a very cool idea. And then lastly, we get this one. It's moving from left to right, and then we see it here. So very cool idea. Great work, Quinn. Great work, everybody. And I hope you really enjoyed this assignment. I think it's a really fun one.